guys, Ash here, Racial Legends. Welcome to the video. Sending some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need it out there today. I finally got my camera fixed. Not that anybody's gonna notice, but yeah, it feels good. It feels good. Today, viewer request is actually from Sarge, and he was the top comment on a video a few days ago, maybe a week ago now. He said, Ash, here's a suggestion. How about sharing a vid on all the epics on every faction that in 2025 are worth taking to 6 stars or at least level 50? It could help out early, mid-game players as well. Some of us, like lifetime players, sort through our messy vaults as well, as long-time players, as they sort through their messy vaults to look to who to upgrade next. I have maxed out almost every epic champion in the game, maybe every epic champion in the game, so I'm happy to go ahead and talk about the ones that I would recommend investing in.
Do you guys ever get the feeling that those guys just don't get that we don't make as much money as they do?
Yes, yeah.
Really?
However, as we say in these sorts of videos, guys, it really does depend quite a bit, right? First of all, if you like a champion, if you like their aesthetic, if you think they're pretty cool, it doesn't always have to be the best champion in the game. Obviously, you're trying to min-max your resources. Yeah, sure, go with the better champions in a vacuum, but there is no vacuum. Every account is a little bit different. What you're focusing on is a little bit different. So I'm just going to give some general thoughts on all the champions that I think would be worth considering for every player out there. So anyway, let's just jump into it here. We got a lot to talk about. So let's start with the Banner Lords. All right, I'm not a big fan of Horden, Lordly Legionary, Archmage Helmet, right? He's the first champion we get from Doom Tower, from the secret rooms on normal. I mean, it is worth every player who, when you unlock Doom Tower, even if you're struggling early on with progression, it's worth going in there and getting your hands on Archmage Helmet, right? Like, just farm that first secret room, maybe the first few secret rooms. Eventually, you'll get this dude. He's really solid, right? His base stats are great. He's super fast. He's immune to turn meter reduction, which is nice. It's not like a game changer, but it's nice to have. He's got 3 buffs, a great seer activator, but still having 3 buffs on one ability is fantastic. You can even consider him in a 9-piece protection someday, because you're going to get a 15% damage bonus because of those 3 buffs on all your allies. He's not the first guy that you're going to run to for that, but still, one of those buffs is an essential buff, the increased speed. He also has a nice A2 with a potential stun on all enemies, and some turn meter manipulation on his A1. Overall, I think Archmage Helmet is a A-tier epic champion in the game. I think everybody should max him out, because you'll be able to use him somewhere, if not dungeon, progression, restrictive content somewhere. I still use him, so I'm sure if I do, then all players, even early on, will use him. If you don't need, and this goes with every champ, I'm not going to repeat it for every single one, if you don't need a stunner with an increased speed, you know, in kind of his skill set right now in your account, by all means, he's not like a must drop everything, go max right away champion. I will mention those, however, as we go through them in today's video. And I'll have all the factions timestamped for you guys as well. All right, Jared of the Stone, not a big fan. Arndulf, not a big fan. Signy, nah. Oathbound, yes. Oathbound's more of a, maybe kind of an endgame champion, ironically. I'm not sure if I would go after him early game unless you're really looking for an AoE decrease attack champion. He's defense-based, so he's pretty tanky. The thing to know about Oathbound, though, is he actually is a really good damage dealer for a defense-based damage dealer, right? So you want to make sure you're setting him up with an increased defense champion on your team. I use him in a stun set. He has a 4-time block active skills. He's good for wave control, specifically in the end game. So he is worth maxing. He's worth knowing about. Chancellor Yasmin, I think she sucks. Seneschal, very good, especially for the end game, especially when you get to Faction Wars 2.0. It's he's gonna be clutch for you. He has a perfect veil on a 2-turn cooldown, right? Very nice to have that 2-turn duration with the continuous heal on a 2-turn cooldown. Moreover, he has an AoE provoke, right? Again, provokers at 100%, granted it's gonna cost you some books, but provokers at 100%, very, very solid. I really like this guy. He also has a leech on his A1, so we can tick off a few of those kind of faction ward hard mode areas, and good for progression, control, provoking. Alaric, I'd pass. Lady Quillen, I'd pass. Sir Artemage, you guys know how much I love this freaking dude, right? The Black Knight. He is a great damage dealer. I'm talking like really, really good. One of my favorite epic damage dealers, specifically this Unshakable Valor. It smacks. That all being said, he's a damage dealer. They're kind of a dime a dozen. I will say it's really nice to have a cleanse before you attack. Like a really underrated move. Not a lot of champions have that, like the Calamitous has it, a few others. But man, it's nice to just have that cleanse on his AoE, right? That he just cleanses himself before he attacks. It's cool. But yeah, this Unshakable Valor, it can absolutely smack. That being said, he's kind of like, if you're looking for a Force Affinity damage dealer, go ahead. Otherwise, he's not a must-max for me. All right, Knight Errant, no. Okay, the first go out in max is going to be Stag Knight, right? Like, Stag Knight is an AoE decrease attack, AoE decrease defense, and on a 3-turn cooldown, everything that we're looking for. Make sure you pick up the Sniper Mastery to get the percentage to from 95 to 100% on landing those debuffs. But he's also got to decrease speed on his A1 and that increased accuracy passive. Whenever an ally has something resisted, he'll put the increased accuracy on them. First champion in the game to ever be added with increased accuracy in his kit. Yeah, he was, right? He was, just not an active ability. I think the first active ability was Kurzad Deepheart, a rare champion with an AoE increased accuracy. Either way, Stag Knight's the man. Super fast. He looks super cool. The White Knight. Hell yeah. I'm so into fantasy right now, so like I'm really digging the aesthetic of Raid in general right now, in terms of reading, like fantasy books. I actually just started, sorry to get, I won't get off the rails too much this video, but I have to tell you guys, I'm reading a book right now, I'm listening to an audiobook, The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. Ooh, is really good so far. High recommendation, first book in the series. Anyway, here we go. Stag Knight, Fearmonger, pass. Gizcard, take him to level 50 champion, right? Listen, he's been power crept kind of by like a Mithrala. He does have a provoke. It's not 100% provoke, but he has the increased defense, increased attack on a 3-turn cooldown. It's nice to have that. He's kind of one of those champions, if you need him, you know, you can see what he brings to the table. Kind of a diverse skill set to some extent. So he's not a trash champion, but he's kind of like a bit situational. He's defense-based. He's pretty tanky, okay? Ulfrig. He's not a must-max, but I love Ulfrig. I invested in Ulfrig a while back when he's introduced to the game. He looks like total just random Joe Blow over here from the street, right? Good old Ulfrig. He looks like BJ from Righteous Gemstones. He's got a nice little look about him. Anyway, he's got a turn meter, increased attack, 4-turn cooldown, not ideal, but he does have an AoE. Stealing buffs, I love buff steal in this game, especially on an AoE. He also heals your team, right? So you put it all together, he deals some decent damage, kind of like a secondary damage dealer in your team, not your main nuker. But he's bringing a decreased attack, right? He's bringing a continuous heal. He's stealing buffs. He's filling turn meter, and he's bringing an increased attack. He also has speed in all battles by 15%. I really like Ulfrig. I would recommend people, again, if you can use this sort of a skill set, I'd recommend investing in him. I like him in the end game too for restrictive content. I use him still to this day, Centranos, areas like that. So he's not a must 60 right away, but I think he's worth it. Also remove decreased attack debuffs from all allies at the start of this champion's turn. That's a nice, although niche, it's a nice little passive there. Lady Annabelle, the best Bommel solo champion in the game, right? I think probably better than any mythical too. I don't know, she's my girl with the red lady. The red ladies are passive. Heals this champion by 50% of the max HP whenever an ally or an enemy dies. So all those bombs, when they tick off next to Bommel, she just heals herself by 50%, right? She just stays alive. Nice and easy. Awesome champion. In addition to that, she brings an increased speed on all allies, 4-turn cooldown, as well as a leech and a decreased speed on enemies on a 3-turn cooldown. The decreased speed is conditional on their turn meter, worth noting there on the A2. But overall, I think she's one of the more underrated epic champions in the game. She'll help you out in Bommel if you're struggling there, right? Even if you have a Bommel team, you can still use her if you're lazy and you don't want to re-gear all your champions. Sometimes it's easy to wait the 10 minutes on Lady Annabelle to finish the solo run, even on hard, than it is to, if you're like me, like my Nishak gear is all muled around, my ally attackers, you know, whatever team you're using. Sometimes just waiting and letting Lady Annabelle anyway handle it is good, but she's good in other areas of the game as well, faction wars and whatnot. Okay, Rowan. I'm not a huge Rowan fan. Yeah, I'm not a huge Rowan fan. Azure, I think he kind of stinks. I think Azure stinks. Warcaster, I think he's been power crept. I probably would not invest in Warcaster unless you're trying to build an old school Demon Lord block damage team, you know? Other than that, you get 1-turn block damage on a 4-turn cooldown, AoE block buffs. It's not enough for me. It's not enough for me anymore. Ursula. one of the better, no, strike that, the best epic reviver in my opinion in terms of AoE revive, and I'm surely focused on her actual revive skill in Requiem, right? Requiem for a Dream, kind of a twisted movie, but pretty good too.
Can we not digress?
Increased defense strength in 3-turn duration. You can use this ability even if you're no dead allies. You can just set up your whole team there with those two, you know, best damage mitigating buffs out there in the game, other than like block damage, obviously. Waves of Grief as a decrease attack and an increase attack. A very nice kit. Again, 75% HP, 50% turn meter on an AoE revive, 5-turn cooldown. Very, very good champion. Love Ursula. To me, if you're looking for a solid epic reviver, struggling in faction wars, or just struggling to find these buffs and debuff, she's a must max for me. Okay, High Elf time. I feel like we're moving pretty well, guys. What do you think? What do you think? Royal Guard. I still think he's worth maxing all the way to this day. He's great control, one of the better Fire Knight champions because of this A3 ability, right? Decreased speed, and each hit on a quad hitter reduces turn meter by 25%. Think Allure, but on a cooldown. And then he has an enemy max HP ability on his A2. Great for Hydra, great for bosses, great for even with the enemy max HP mitigation they added to the game. He still can deal an insane amount of damage. Has a decreased defense too. He's still worth maxing out for all accounts, in my opinion. Tyrell. I'm gonna say Tyrell's a bit more situational nowadays. He used to be one of the most sought after, one of the most wanted epic champions in the game. But a 4-turn decrease defense, it doesn't do it for me anymore. He does have a 2-turn stun and decreased turn meter, very nice preemptive strike ability. He can deal some damage as well. He has a defense all battles aura, so he's not useless. He's far from it, but he's situational. If you need an AoE decreased defense from a defense-based champion that has a really cool control ability on his A3, go ahead and invest. Otherwise, I think that you probably will end up using him at some point in faction wars or restrictive content, but he's not a run out and max right away anymore for me. Skaramis, though, whoo, he's close to it. You know what I'm going to start doing, guys? I'm going to start just saying, instead of every champion, they're not a run out and max right away. I'm just going to say, like, you know, we'll put we'll have banners come down from the rooftop, and I'll say S tier max no matter what on those champions. There's only a few of them. Skaramis is amazing, but he's not quite that category. But you're going to use him. Like, everybody's going to use this dude. He's my favorite epic provoker in the game, okay? He has an AoE provoke on a 3-turn cooldown with a counterattack, continuous heal, stuns on the A1, tons of turn meter fill with buff decrease, and a decrease attack on his A2 on a 3-turn cooldown. Man, he's a beast. Maybe he is a run out and max. I'm not saying he'd take priority over like other champions that you actually really need given a situation, but like I said, I mean, what else do I have to say? I think he's the best epic provoker. I love the synergy between the counterattack and the turn meter steal and the stuns on the A1. Just such a good kit. Such a good kit. One of the better champions released epics in the last couple years, right? In Dahlia, I'd pass. Thanasil, I'd pass. Listen, there's going to be comments because there always is in these videos.
Like, Ash, Thanasil's not that bad. He's got an increased defense, a nice heal. What are you, crazy?
I don't know. For me nowadays, you need more than just an increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown to be a max, because I feel like a lot of players in this game, they spread their resources sometimes a bit too thin. They max too many champions. So I'm thinking about, like, you know, who am I really focusing on here? So Thanasil's a pass. Luthia, pass. Is Elisnyana. I've never known how to say her name. Pass. Ambassador Lethalin. He's a bit more niche, but he's worth knowing about. He has an AoE on his A1, so great in a stun set, right? He has a taunt, but not on himself. So he can taunt an ally. It's a really rare ability in this game, so you ought to know about him just for that. He also has reflect damage, which in some situations can be pretty useful, like ticking off random buff and debuff requirements in restrictive content or conditional content. Decreased duration of 2 random debuffs on all allies by 1 turn with a heal, and then an additional heal on each debuff. But not a bad support ability, but certainly not game-breaking. For me, he's a conditional must-max champion. I feel like most players can probably get by without him, but if you're looking for some like taunt a specific target team, he could be the type of champion you're looking for. Neldor is a definite max worthy. Not run out and do it right away, but a triple with freeze and a quad on the A2 with an AoE ×2. He's good for damage. He's good for wave control. And he's great. I'm talking S tier for Fire Knight Hard, which is the most difficult dungeon in the game, in my opinion. So those 3 freezes at a 40% clip on each hit, very, very useful for controlling the Fire Knight shield on Fire Knight Hard when it's off, or in Centrano's Fire Knights for that as well. And then you can chip away at that shield with a quad hit on that A2 as well. Very good champion. Maybe a bit conditional, but very good. Vergis, man, he had a rework like 3 years ago, and it was really, really good. Another solo champion, not as good as Lady Annabelle, but against different bosses like the Scarab King, right? He's got a really crazy passive. He's a shield on himself. Whenever he loses 10% or more of max HP from a single hit, that's not a very high threshold to hit there. He also has continuous heals. He's tough to kill, and he can support. He has all these buffs on a target ally for 3 turns, as well as some on this champion, right? So he's a good solo, a really good and underrated support champion, just for wave and for progression in the game as well. For me, he's probably worth maxing, but not just like run out and stop everything type of champion. It just, you'll know if you need him, right? You can see his skill set, but a good support. He's just uncanny knack for keeping your team and himself alive. Good protection for your reviver too in your team. Marksmen don't like him even after didn't he have a buff a few years ago? Didn't even like him after the buff. Jingle Hunter, I don't think so. Single target freeze, not enough for me. Battle Sage has a good cleanse, but for me, it's just not good enough to recommend maxing out. Exemplar, still the same. Not in love with her. She has like a weaken, a solid weaken. She hits pretty hard, but again, it's not enough for me to recommend. And Drycia is underrated, but she's more niche for me. She's kind of very mini Nekret the Great in the sense that she has this passive that at the start of each turn, she places an ally protection on the ally with the lowest max HP, okay? She also has a strength and an increased defense on herself, which is very nice. The other thing to know about her is she has a 2-turn stun on a 3-turn cooldown. Very good. There's a few epics in the game that have that. Is my hat like, I feel like it's invisible? I thought it was like, what the heck? Let me fix this. Okay, I felt like my hat was in the midst of disappearing.
Mind prison, in effect.
Okay, 2-turn stun if they don't have active buffs. So it is conditional. Decreased duration of buffs on enemies. Increased defense. Duration increase on allies. I don't know. I don't love her kit, but she's not bad either. You know, she's one of those like B tier, in my opinion, epic champion. I don't think she's a must max. Ethlin the Golden. Listen, this guy's really cool, but also it's just weird. Like, he's like almost all the way there for a max recommendation, but I can't in good consciousness say, yes, he's your guy. He can deal some pretty nice damage. He brings his own buffs. He has an extra turn mechanic, and he has a AoE block active skills. He's good for damage and wave control primarily. And then we have one of the newest epics in the game, at least at the time of the recording, Lightward Sandra. So what does she do? On her A1, she's stealing a buff from the target. Not bad. 100% if it's critical. Good A1 there. A 2-time hitter. Each has a chance of stealing turn meter. If critical, steals 30% of the target's turn meter. Really love the turn meter steal. It is on a 4-turn cooldown. I'm not going to get super excited about it. 3-turn cooldown on the AoE on the A3. Solid multipliers here, though, with a 1509. So she brings her own increased accuracy, increased crit rate as well. Increase the duration of all buffs on this champion by 1 turn, provided the attack is critical. You're looking at some decent damage. She stacks up her attack for each buff she receives as well, and of course she brings her own buffs. Kind of an interesting damage dealer. I don't think she's one of like the S tier champions out there in the game. And you know, I really wish they would release some like really awesome Void epics, like really awesome, but she's just like pretty mediocre. I don't think she's a drop everything and go max. Canoness, I like her, maybe level 50 type champion. She got a big buff a couple years ago. Not a lot of fanfare around it. Thing to know about her is, though, she has a 2-turn ally protection, increased defense on the target and herself, as well as a continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns. So basically 100% uptime, continuous heal, ally protect, and increased defense because of the 2-turn cooldown. Worth noting on Canoness. It's not a trash ability. It's actually pretty good. But, you know, when you actually think about it, like on paper, it's good. But then, you know, are you really going to go out and use Canoness all the time? Not really, right? Adriel, no. Hope's not awful. I really wish this was 100% chance of buff removal, though. You know, same thing with Chancellor Yasmin. I don't get super excited about removing buffs at a 75% clip, right? She has a decent A2 as well. It is a 4-turn cooldown. I would say niche. If you're really looking for restrictive content to remove buffs from enemies, maybe like Faction Wars, kill all enemies without a buff or something like that, you could trot her out. But I think like level 50 until that time would be all you need to invest with hope. Frostbringer, I'm not a huge fan. Talia, she can deal some nice damage. Some people love Talia. I'm really not one of them, unfortunately. I've never been wowed by her. She's all right. Juliana, kind of the same deal. Juliana, I think, is better than the few other champions we talked about recently. She has a poison for 3 turns. I think this is actually, is it 2 poisons? It's more than 1 poison. It doesn't say it, but it is. So I think she's placing a couple poisons on her A2 and then a burn on the A3. TLDR, you're getting both poison and burn from like a decent champion. I think she's okay. I think she's good if you're looking for a poisons or burns or both in one kit. She's more of a progression champion in my opinion than, you know, go out and max. Sanguinia, though, is really good. She's very tanky, good base stats. She's transferring all debuffs from this champion to a target, and she's removing and cleansing all ally debuffs as well. Really nice move here on the A2, or excuse me, the A3. The A2 is a block debuffs and a continuous heal. The only nitpick I have on her, like a lot of epic champions, is the block debuffs is only a 1-turn duration. Kind of a bummer there. Kind of a bummer. But, I mean, she still has a damn cleanse. she's kind of like Mausoleum Maged here for me, right? Maybe not quite as good, but Runekeeper, Dazdirk, Mausoleum Mage, maybe Sanguinia, Skathix, those type of champions, like put them in kind of in the same tier. Sanguinia is maybe a conditional max out. Eothar, listen, if you're looking for poisons, he's got 4 of them on a 3-turn cooldown. That's about it on Eothar. Relic Keeper, pass. Missionary, who likes Missionary? Romero, even after his rework, I'm not in love with him. Although I do have a soft spot for Romero because Jaime Lannister here helped me clear Faction Wars for the very first time back in the day. He was my main healer, so if you're looking for healing, you know, he can cover you there. Lady Atessa is probably the least... the worst, let me put it that way. Least compelling is what I was going to say. Ally attacker out of all epics, I would not invest. They buffed her. That's the tragedy. Just make it join 3 random allies and she's fine, you know? I don't know. Mordecai. I think arguably the best burner. He's a top 3 burner out of any epic in the game. The cool thing about him is he's placing his burn not predicated on critical hits. He's also bringing increased attack on all allies with some turn meter on the A2. For me, Mordecai he's very good. If you're looking for burn, he's a must max. Bushy, no thanks. Fenax, hell yeah. I mean, Fenax isn't a must max right away, but everybody, once you pull a Fenax, eventually should get around to maxing this dude. He's got one of the most lethal A1s with a block revive on it, chance at an extra hit if they're not under any debuffs. He has some control on his A2 with a block buffs ability, decently hard-hitting ability as well. And then, for bosses, decreased defense and decreased speed on the same ability, albeit a 4-turn cooldown, but still very handy, especially against single-target situations. Overall, fantastic champion. Deacon. Yeah, I think he's close to, he's kind of in the Stagnite territory for me. I think most would probably argue even better than Stagnite, right? Deke, he's special because he's got the extra turn. He's got turn meter manipulation, kind of a mini Lysandra type ability here. And then the decreased defense on the AoE, but it can be brought down to a 2-turn cooldown basically because of that extra turn on the A3 once you get kind of cooking, right? He also has a leech on the A1 to speed in all battles by 19%. He's one of the best, if not the best, epic debuffers out there in the game. He's kind of like a motor. He's great in Dark Fae areas like that as well. Can deal a little bit of damage as well. So he's S tier, so he's probably a must-max for everybody. Mistress of Hymns, not a huge fan. Lodric, not a huge fan. Ancherite. Worth knowing about this dude. He's got an AoE on his A1, so we're always looking out for AoEs on A1s for stun set consideration, right? Because there's so many areas in this game. It's not very compelling, but you have to mule around your stun gear, your stun artifacts to a champion with an AoE on the A1. He's got that, right? He also has a 1 debuff cleanse and increased duration of all ally buffs. It's a nice ability there, right, on his A2. I actually like this guy. I use this dude on my main clan boss team. He is my buff extender for Wixwell. So I like Ancherite. He's not a must max. He's more situational, but he's worth knowing about. Carlinia Candlehead. I'll tell you, I maxed out Carlinia actually pretty recently, right? She's got decreasing of debuffs on all allies. She's got an AoE decrease attack. Can't be resisted by targets under a burn, which she has on her A1. For me, she's okay. Kind of like a C+, maybe a B- champion. Cardinal. I don't think she's a must max, but she's one of the most special and unique and dynamic epic champions in the game. Her whole kit is pretty trash, except for the redemption. It's an AoE revive, and once they're revived, boost turn meter 2 max means they're guaranteed to go right away. Can be tough to stop a Cardinal team in the arena specifically, or sometimes you're just looking for a reviver, right? Even though Sacred Order does have a lot of options for revivers, you might not have any of them. Cardinal will be a serviceable reviver and very good in niche situations in the arena, Stone Skin, and she'll revive everybody, and that can be the difference maker when you can't win the speed battle. Lightsworn. I was using him recently in Faction Wars. He's not that bad. Increased defense, revive on death on a 4-turn cooldown when booked. He also has a decreased attack, decreased speed, but it's a single target, but good for bosses. Triple hitter on his A1. I think he's pretty niche. You could use him in Fire Knight situations for progression. I think he's a level 50 champion, and then if you really like him, maybe take him to 60. Inquisitor Shamil, for me, he's a must-max for every account. S-tier must-max alarm. He has a 100% ignore defense potential on his A2. He can hit very hard. He has auto attacks on his A1. You can put him in, probably should, I still recommend, by the way, putting him in Savage or Lethal Gear, even though he has the potential to ignore 100% defense. Ignore a further 25% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. Can't always guarantee he's going to have 3 buffs to get the full 100% ignore defense, and the A1 can hit decently hard as well. So I like still putting him in lethal or savage gear, or you can just go crit damage gear, or you can go toxic gear because he has so many counterattacks to dish out those poisons. Just got to be careful the debuff meter. But the reason he's a must max for everybody is, I think most players out there, most everybody, unless you're like super whale endgame, can use him in at least one Hydra Clan Boss team because he instantly cleanses fears and true fears. We had that dungeon too, the true fear dungeon. What was it? The Queen of Hearts dungeon. He was like the best champion, right? There's no better way to deal with fear and true fear in this game than Inquisitor Shamil. Even in the arena against Fabian now, he's a good counterplay. So he brings a lot to the table. He's one of the better epics out there in the game, especially for damage dealers. So for me, he's a must max. Godseeker and Eerie, man, she was a must max a year or so ago. She's still amazing. Probably my second or third favorite, maybe fourth reviver out of all epics. She's very close to a must-max for all players. That being said, you know, they've introduced other champions that do some of the very special things that she did, or she does, excuse me, but you put it all together, still fantastic. She's got this instantly revives a champion who's about to get killed, right? She has a healing passive. Everybody receives more healing, which is nice. She brings heals and buff manipulation on her A2, which is fantastic, and debuffs on enemies. And then she has that full reset on her single target revive on a 4-turn cooldown. You can use her in one of those Ninja Sand Devil teams that we saw, the duo teams that was the Rage, you know, a while ago. But she's still very useful and serviceable pretty much anywhere. She's a very, very jack of all tradesy, very all-around great epic champion that's worth maxing for most accounts. Barbarians! Aina, pass. Jotun, I'm passing. Sakara, I'm passing. Ator, I'm passing, excuse me. But if you're looking for a provoker, I mean, my man is probably one of the better epic provokers because he has it on his A1 and his A2. It's just not an AoE, so maybe Magma Dragon or something like that. I don't know. He's probably not worth it. Arima I like, but I can't in good consciousness say that she's a must-max. She is an AoE decreased defense champion, though, you know, who's all right. Very squishy, though. Alika. Of course, Alika, everybody knows her. She's very good. She hits very hard with a 2-turn cooldown ability, ignore 50% target's defense. I've found personally, just to be real, because there's a lot of content on how insanely good she is out there. I found that to really get a lot of value out of this A2, to make her like one of the best nukers out there, you actually really need good gear. Personally, it's been my experience. Like, if you don't have good gear on her, you can say this about any ability, but this especially, to see it smack like you sometimes do on YouTube, you need really good gear. That being said, Disorient is very good. It's an AoE turn reduction ability, kind of like an Alice type ability, right? With decreased cooldowns by 2 turns, great control and damage dealer, right? So if you're looking for that, if you need that either in the arena, wave content, or whatever, she's definitely worth considering. Very good. Tashada, she's a situational max. They changed her into a reviver about 2 years ago. She didn't have a revive, now she does. Cool thing is, it's not a great revive, but it is on a 3-turn cooldown. So if you're looking for a reviver in Barbarians, Tashada is pretty solid. Kalia, I'm passing on. Even after her buff, I'm not a big fan. Maeve, I'm passing on. Barath the Bloodsoak. People hate this guy. I don't mind him. He's interesting. He's kind of like a HP damage dealer, but he brings shields, he brings healing, he brings some debuffs. He's very situational. Maybe a level 50 consideration if you're looking for those things, especially in Faction Wars progression. Jamarsa. Jamarsa is the friend referral champion. I should just give a massive shout out. I don't know if he's watching or ever watches, but I have a few people here I'm actually going to get rid of. A big shout out to T-Flaz. But it's been 6 weeks, so you've done your work. And refer account for Ash. Thank you. Ashhound, though, still at it. I don't know who Ashhound is. He's in 9th floor is the name of the clan here. He's got He-Man. I like that. I want to give a big shout out. I just included my friend referral link. I'll include it again in this video. And he's just been like helping me out, try to get Chronum one day. So thank you. Got me Jamarsa as well. So thank you all those guys. Shout out to Bront Cat Herder too, one of my favorite YouTube channels out there, one of my favorite dudes in the community. He helped me out as well. So anyway, Jamarsa is one of those epics who you can get for kind of free. You just need to refer a friend. She has a revive on an AoE. That being said, she didn't blow me away. Kind of a cool phasing passive too, but she's all right. Woad Painted, really one of the better healers out there in the game. She used to be the laughingstock, probably the worst epic champion in all of Raid Shadow Legends for a while, but she's a great healer now with her A2. That being said, she's not a must-max, only if you're really desperate for healing. High Katoon, well, by the time that you get her in the game after day 30, she's absolutely a must-max for all accounts, right? Speed on the aura, a great turn meter fill and increased speed a la Apothecary on her Rally the Horde, and then an AoE with decreased turn meter on her A3, right? She also brings a decreased speed on her A1. I mean, she has everything you need for speed and turn meter manipulation, the aura, everything, especially when you get her early on. And then you can use her again in restrictive content later on in the game. Vala, if you're looking for a decreased defense, tanky option, there's not that many of them out there in the game. She does have an AoE decreased defense, right? On a 3-turn cooldown. Granted, actually, sorry, where is it? It's a 3-turn cooldown still, but granted, it's a 50% chance of placing that decreased defense. She's all right. She's all right. Fat Man. Farrakhan the Fat is a must-max. Must-max alarm. Must-max alarm. Even if you can't use him right now, you can always use an ally attacker, right? He's the best epic ally attacker, and it's kind of by a mile, right? He's got everybody joins in the ally attack except for him, right? And then he's got a HP burn and 2 poisons, right? Very good. Again, very, very good. You're going to use him. I promise you, you're going to use this dude. Hoskarul, not a must-max, but he's very good. Very good. An AoE stun, 75% stun on a 3-turn cooldown. Decreased turn meter on enemies under stun by 15% as well. It's one of the better control moves out of any epic out there in the game. He looks so freaking cool too, right? So if you're looking for a stunner, you could do a lot worse than Hoskarul. He's defense-based too, and he he can deal a little bit of damage. Think Grush the Mangler type damage from this dude. Okay. Harkin Greatblade, I know some people are a fan. I'm not a big fan. Sawai, I hate. Skytouch Shaman is a weird champion. A weird champion, right? She puts fear on herself, but she is a very competent healer, and she has a very nice A2. That being said, she's not a must-max for me, but a very cool design. Like, look at this design. So freaking cool. Kind of a mini cardio ability here. Cleanse, block, debuff, revive on death. Granted 4 turn instead of 3 turn. Granted, it's not a protected like Cardio's, but still a good move nonetheless. She also has an AoE on her A1 ability. Okay, Ogryn Tribe. Who we got here? Grimskin. I don't know. I kind of have a soft spot for Grimskin. He has an AoE with a 100% chance of removing a random buff from each target. That's it. That's all he's got. But for whatever reason, I kind of use him a lot. I don't know. I mean, poor guy. He's just full of muck all over himself. I just feel bad for him, I guess. It hurts! He's not that great. He can deal some damage, though. Ugo. Yeah. My girl. Ugo is my personal favorite decreased defense champion, and there's a lot of good ones. There's Duck the Pierce, there's Stag Knight, there's Deacon Armstrong. I'm sure most people would rather have like a Deke, but they're quite different. But Ugo is still one of the better. Ugo's one of the epics that I actually see endgame whales using still, right? And it just speaks on how good decreased defense and block buffs are. They actually buffed Norag to have ability like this as well now. So you have another magic affinity option granted to legendary. But I love that she has a great heal and a little cleanse on her A2 or A3 as well with a leech on the A1. She brings a lot of support and 2 really important debuffs in her kit. S tier, go out and max. Claude is a bit situational, I'm not going to lie. He's got a shield. He's got increased speed and increased attack on a 3-turn cooldown. Pretty tanky. You can put him in a shield set, a bolster set. He's fast too. There's a lot to like here, but again, for me, it comes down to if you need these buffs on your team, he might be worth considering. Otherwise, probably pass. Siege Hulk. He's a big fella. He's going to be a guy you're going to be able to use in the end game as a damage dealer in some niche situations. He's an AoE decreased defense champion again, but he brings a lot of damage. One of the better epic damage dealers, but he's super, super, super squishy, 760 on the defense. If you need that, invest. If not, pass. Lorne. I love Lorne the Cutter. Little thing about me is I'm a big card-carrying Lorne the Cutter fan club member. I think this guy's worth investing in. He has a triple hitter, good for Fire Knight. He has a heal reduction and a leech, good for Fire Knight, good for everywhere. It's a pretty hard-hitting ability, 1443 with decent multipliers on the attack. So I just love this move, and full turn meter depletion on the A3. So again, doubling down on that Fire Knight progression. But I just found him very useful all over Centranos, Curse City, just solid. AoE heal reduction can be hard to find too. Leech and heal reduction on the same ability. He's a cool champion. I really like Lorne the Cutter. Skull Crusher. Man, Skull Crusher is still solid, but he's also fallen off just because he was so, everybody loved this dude back in the day. One of the, 4 champions with an AoE counterattack in the game with Martyr and the Allahs. But still, good for Demon Lord still to this day. That he can be a good stun target because he decreases the duration of all debuffs on the champion at 1 turn at the start of his turn. Other than that, I actually don't think he's a must-max anymore. Some of you might disagree with that, but that's where I'm at. Shatterbones. Good control here. AoE times 3. Decreased turn meter by 30%. Very solid. He doubles down with a decreased speed and a decreased turn meter on his A3. Granted, 7 down to 5 turn cooldown. That's a bit extreme. For that reason, he's not a must. He's the same thing as Grimskin, only he doesn't have the oil on him. He doesn't have the oil. So I think he's situational. I don't regret either Grimskin or Shatterbones investments on my account, but I'd be lying if I said that, they're account changing. Grunch Killjoy. He's interesting. He has a cleanse with a continuous heal on a 4-turn cooldown, and he's a bomber. You don't really find cleanse bombers out there, so an interesting combo. My favorite thing about him is actually the duration of his bombs. 1-turn detonation. If you're looking for a bomb champion with some support as well, Crunch Giljoy could be your guy. Could be your guy. That being said, very situational champion. Sees, he's a free daily login. I'm not a big fan of his. Gruckus is nah, I'm not a huge fan of Gruckus. I do like his look, though. I do like his look. I always say it, but he's like the Beetlejuice dude with the small head, you know?
It's showtime.
Kind of a cool looking design. Galka, another bomber. There's a lot of bombers here. As a 2-turn bomb on an AoE on a 4-turn cooldown, not too bad. He also has damage 1 at a time in order, which can avoid like blast-proof type damage mitigation, AoE masteries, or like an Ethereal Ways, Duchess passive. So, cool champion, but he's not my favorite bomber in the faction. And yeah, I just think that, like, I don't know, how many epic decent bombers do you need? Galka is okay for me. Cagebreaker, I'd pass. Occult Brawler is cool. He's still one of the better poison, putter-outers, appliers, excuse me, in the game. But I don't think he's a must-max anymore. Good for Demon Lord progression at level 50. Grush the Mangler. I actually think he's worth maxing, especially considering when you get him. AoE defense-based nuke. And he brings a lot of support with the continuous heals and the damage mitigation from the decreased attack. He has a leech on his A1 too. He can deal some decent damage as well for a defense-based champion. So I think he's worth going for. I put him like in a, A- type rating. Wuzgar, kind of cool. I was kind of high on this dude when he came out, but Fire Knight progression, that's about it for me. Man-Eater. It's Man-Eater. Man-Eater. He used to be all the rage. He's still pretty good. He's still quite good. I love this A2 ability. Fully depletes target's turn meter. Fills his turn meter, how much the target loses. He's got a decreased attack on all enemies. Big version. And all you have to do is build him with 100% crit rate. He's Void Affinity. Can't even weak hit off of it. Very good A1. That being said, his biggest use case, his most popular use case, at least historically, that's Demon Lord Clan Boss. He's not the best anymore over there. I mean, he still is very good, excuse me. I'm sure a lot of players, millions of players still use it. I just think that there's a lot of strategies now out there, whereas back in the day, he was almost essential for accounts. 2 of them were almost essential for a lot of accounts. That being said, I think that most people, if you get Man-Eater, you're still going to use him and max him. Towering Titan pass. Prundar, let's go Skrank first. Skrank, I think he's a top 3 epic burner in the game. I mentioned Mordecai was 1. Skrank is 2. I'll talk about the 3rd and 2 factions from now. But he's got an AoE burn. He's Void Affinity. Again, don't have to worry about weak hits, which is very nice. And then he brings a lot of like extra damage boosting abilities, including on his Pyromania on his passive. So a good kind of blend of a nuker and a burner, like nuke plus burn, in one Void Affinity champion. Prundar. I actually kind of like Prundar. He's got a strengthen and a continuous heal on a 4-turn cooldown on all allies. And then he has a 75% provoke, but it's on a 3-turn cooldown. He also brings his own increased defense, which is useful because he has a provoke. And I like that he has a decreased speed or a stun when counterattacking on his A1. He's got damage mitigation against provoke, as well as a counterattack on his passive, Trash Talk. I like Prundar a lot more than I thought I would. A very useful Ogryn Tribe champion. However, I don't think he's a must-max, that being said, but I think he's good. Urgrim I put in the same boat as a Prundar. Quite different champions, but not a must-max, but very good. Speed in all battles on his aura. I love the 20% speed in all battles. It's it might be the best all-battle speed aura out of any epic in the game. He's got 2 poisons, continuous heal, a little mini Bad Alcazar on the A3. And then he's got a solid single target support on his A2 with more poison on his A1. Again, he's a poison type champion, so good in Dragon's Lair and areas like that. But that being said, he is a bit niche, to be fair. So if you're looking for poison, some support, look no further. Jerang, I'm passing on. Jereg, he's not a must max for me, not anymore. That being said, he has ally protection, increased defense, 4-turn cooldown, and he's very tanky. So he's a type of champion that maybe an endgame player struggling with some Lizardmen only secret rooms, some epic only Cursed City areas. You might want to use him in a shield set or a bolster set. In those situations, I know that I do. He's actually featured or available in some of the more difficult Centranos stages. So worth considering there. Venomage is a must max. For 90% of players, right? She has damage mitigation from heal reduction enemies, which is very good because she has an AoE heal reduction. It's a 3-turn duration, which is great on a 3-turn cooldown. The best AoE heal reduction in the game, you're looking right here. Probably the best heal reduction champion along with Morrigan in the game right here in Venom Mage. Now, in addition to all that, she brings a decreased defense, a decreased attack, single target, and has activation of 2 poisons on her A1. I have to say, she brings so much to the table. She's good everywhere from a Scarab King situation to Nether Spider to anywhere you need a lot of AoE control. I was using her in Faction Wars hard the other day. She was great. So Venom Mage is fantastic. Basilisk, take him to 50. Put him in a stun set. Or take him to 60 and use him as a nuker. He has a very, very hard-hitting A1 on an AoE. And he has a stun on his A2. Good for wave control. Aox. Good in the event dungeon that's going on right now. Really solid champion. Steward of Time. Increase the duration of 2 random debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn when attack occurs once per hit. Very good passive. He's got poison on his A1. He's got heals on his A2. And he's got decreased attack on his A3. There's a lot to like about this champion. You put it all together. He is a not pull him out the vault and max no matter what. But don't sleep on this champion. I find there's a lot of players who are like, seems all right, but not for me. He's one of those champions that we talk about kits that read better than they are. He's one of those champions, especially with that passive. He's a kit that reads worse than he really is in the game. Broodlord, nah. Z, not a fan. She deals good single target damage, but that's it. She's a Doom Tower Secret Room champion. Drake, no, bad. Jizzo, really good Head of Decay champion in Mischief tank, right? He brings enough buffs on himself only that he can tank Mischief. And he has a 2-turn provoke, so we can lock down Head of Decay as well. So there he goes. He's a niche Hydra Clan boss champion, and that's it. So otherwise, I would not invest. Quagrin, not awful, but I'm not a huge fan. Delea, not fan of. Broadmaw, you're going to fuse him anyway. He's going to help you in Faction Wars. He's a reviver, okay? He's a reviver. He brings the weak version of increased speed as well, which is kind of weird. Skathix. Slizzix, people really love this dude. People, I didn't love him, but I guess he's like a decent damage dealer, I guess. What do they love so much about this guy? I guess, I don't know. I was not wowed by him, but some people do. I hear a lot of comments about like, dude, you're sleeping on the Slizzix, so I want to be fair to that, but I've never been enamored by him. Skathix, though, I do love. I already said this earlier in the video, but your boy loves a good old buff steal. I love buff steal. That's why I like Ulfrig. That's why I like Skathix. But there's actually a lot to like about this dude. He's great in Iron Twins. He's got the decreased speed, 50% clip on his A1. He's got the cleanse. He's got the block debuffs for 2 turns. You'd love to see it even on a 4-turn cooldown. Block damage, so he has the fail save, keep him alive with the block damage when his HP drops below 30%. Come on. Skathix is very good. I don't know about a must drop everything in max, but to me, he's an A+ epic champion. Very, very good. All right, Skinwalker time. Taurus. Not a must max, but he is the best epic poisoner in the game, you know, with the exception of Occult Brawler on Demon Lord or single target. He has an AoE 4 poisons. The best setup to like an Eleanoril or a Xavia or a Theodore, like poison combustors, right? So good. But that being said, that's about it. That's about it on Taurus. Flesh Terrace, pass. Scabrius, pass. So this dude, Nerox Blackhorn, is one of the newer dudes. He was from the last fusion. He has an ally protection on all allies, granted 4-turn cooldown, counterattack, which leads him into more decreased speeds, and an AoE 75% provoke, albeit on a 4-turn cooldown. Honestly, he has provokes that synergize with someone being attacked with ally protection. I don't think he's as trash as the reviews were on him. I actually used him like the other day in Faction Wars for a control champion. So if you're looking for a provoker with some support as well, you could do a lot worse. It's good to know about some of these provokers. So I think he's conditional, but not as bad as the reviews say. Ripper, Rain Beast, Snorting Thug, and Yaga are all trash. Both the bears are not worth investing in, even though I love these old school Battle Pass champions, and they have really, wait a sec. They don't have any champion lore? I could have sworn they had good champion lore. I don't know. Have to consult with like Layla on that one. I thought they did. Not worth investing in, even though I like the black bear better than the white bear. Horfy's the Tusk. He is a Revive 2 champion. We're going to repeat it in every faction. You ought to know about who the Revive 2 random allies are in every faction in case you're hurting for a Reviver in Faction Wars. So Horfy's is that guy. All the Revive 2s, I would take them to 50, and then I wouldn't max them unless you really need them. I don't think the Revive 2s excel, maybe with one or two exceptions, to the degree that they'd have to for me to be like, yeah, no brain, max them out. So keep that in mind for the rest of the factions in the video. Steel Skull. Still good support, still very fast. Lizard, Skinwalker. He looks he's just green. It's the green. Sorry, bro. Listen, he's been power crept. He's going to increase defense with the heal. It's a good move, but it's a 4-turn cooldown. His A2 isn't that bad. He has poison on his A1. That being said, there's like an abnormally high amount of restrictive content that you can use Steel Skull in. Like there's a Skinwalkers only epics, Secret Room and Doom Tower. I find using him quite a bit in Curse City and in Soul Cross, the most difficult area there. So I think he's probably worth maxing at some point, right? And I love the nipple rings, man. I just love, great look.
Stop staring at it!
All right, Fane, she's very squishy. I'm not the hugest fan of Fane, even though she can deal some nice damage and she brings a lot of debuffs. Kind of like a single target debuffer that you need to make sure you can keep her alive. Decreased defense, weaken. She brings decreased attack as well, and poison. So nice damage, but she's not a must max for me. Bobos is an interesting champion, but he's not a must max. Cleanse a random debuff from each ally, and actually, he's not that good. Both. I was actually thinking of both and not Bovos. My bad. Both, though, I like quite a bit more. An AoE, decreased accuracy, decreased duration of ally buffs, a remove 2 debuffs from all allies with a heal and an increased accuracy. Listen, the kit's not going to blow you away, but I kind of like the dude. He has 100% heal reduction on his A1. He's not a must max, but don't sleep on him if you need this sort of a kit. For me, he's kind of like a fill-in, like sometimes you build a team and you have 4 champions all ready to go, and you're like, okay, I have kind of a flex spot here. That's where a champion like Bove could really excel and make your team a lot better. He really supports what everybody else on your team is trying to do. Basher. Another decrease cooldown champion, very similar to Alika's A3 ability, but he's Void, so you can't weak hit on this bad boy as well. That being said, he's so niche to me. He's so niche, and he's really too slow to use as you get like higher in live arena, or excuse me, in regular arena, in any PvP. So decent for wave control. He has a block buffs, but it's funny, I was using him in Faction Wars hard mode just yesterday. Really challenging Skinwalker floor, and I ended up like swapping him out. I couldn't beat the floor with him on it. That's not a knock at him, it's like the rest of the team matters as well, but like I don't think that Basher's a must max, but I think he's definitely the best lockout out of any epic. But you know, people have Alice now and stuff. They have other options. So I don't know. I've never been the biggest Basher fan. I know a lot of people are. Hate to bash him. Akemptum. All right. I love Akemptum. Akemptum is very freaking close to a must max. He deals an insane amount of damage because of this passive, just Hex, Poison synergy. He's got triple hitter on his A1 and a triple hitter AoE on his A2. All you really need to know about him, his speed in all battles 18% too. All you really need to know about this dude is he's Void Affinity. He's the best Hex applier and duration increaser in the game. Decent damage, really cool aesthetic. I think Akemptum is a must max, but not until you really need him. Frenzy thus concludes my top 3 epic HP burners. I keep teasing it, but Frenzy is the third. She's really cool. She has an AoE provoke. It's 100% provoke on a 4-turn cooldown, excuse me, when booked. She brings her own increased defense, which is great because she's defense based. She's got burns on the A2 and burn activation on the A1. Doesn't have an AoE though. It's a 3-time at random. So she's the best burner for bosses like Spider or like Ice Golem hard, you know? That being said, she's not a must max, but she's really good. If you need to provoke some damage, some burns, yeah, max her out. I mean, who am I kidding? I think most players are going to need that skill set, so I think she's worth maxing. Using the Marooned. I actually like this guy. He might be the last epic that I've maxed on my account. I like him. He's an AoE chance of removing 2 buffs from all enemies on a 3-turn cooldown. That's great. And then he has remove buff, 1 debuff from all allies with a heal and a block debuff for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. Transfers a random debuff from this champion to the target on his A1, and whenever he heals himself using a skill, heals all allies by 20% of any surplus heal. He has that heal on his A2 ability. I like him. Really good support and kind of a buff remover on the enemy team, right? He brings a lot to the table. He's not a must-max, must-6-star right away, but he's definitely a champion I'm keeping, and I'm going to use this dude. I have been using him in Faction Wars Hard Mode as a support. All right, Orc time. Man, Orc is the worst faction in the game, in my opinion. Ultimate Galek pass. Duck the Pierced. Yeah, not a go out and max right away, but very good. Even champions like Stag Knight get a lot of love for good reason. He's a beast. But people don't talk about Duck enough, you know? Duck, Duke, whatever. Huck. Is the D silent? Huck the Pierced. He's got a decreased defense and a decreased attack on the same ability, 3-turn cooldown, right? He has a nifty little provoke. It's not an AoE, it's only 1 target, but it can come in handy in some situations. It could be 2. It's a 75% 2-target provoke. Good champion. I think he's worth holding on to, probably worth building. Old Hermit Jorg. He's the Revive 2 in Orcs. He's also a very good Revive 2. He was the exception that I was talking about earlier. He's got an increased attack, a nice juicy 20% turn meter boost, and a burn on the A1. Listen, there's a lot of areas you can use a Reviver with a turn meter boost, increased attack, and a burn. So worth maxing for a lot of players out there. Tagore is my personal favorite epic Reviver in the game. He's worth maxing for everybody. He might be a drop everything in max. I think he is. Because he brings increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown. He brings a nice juicy heal based on his HP. He brings a great shield that you can use without the revive. He brings an increased defense on his A1 to the ally who needs it the most. And he brings damage mitigation, HP in all battles as well in the aura. Yeah, to me, he's the best. I mean, I know this is, I'm going to take flack for it, but he's the best epic reviver, you know? He doesn't have the best epic revive. That would be Ursula. But he's the best overall epic reviver. Tagore is my man. I've liked him since day 1 he was released.
Because being loyal is very important.
Ruka, pass. Torture Helm, pass. Zargala, for me, she's not a go out and max unless you're really hurting for damage dealers. Force affinity damage dealers or orc damage dealers. But she's one of the better ones. She has an AoE ×3 with a decreased defense, instant activation on Devastate. Can still be a great damage dealer. But like a lot of damage dealers, it's like if you need it, you know? Bloodfeather, pass. Bonekeeper, pass. Shaman, pass. Again, on Shaman, she's a revive 1 ally and everybody gets her for free, so worth knowing about. But for me, she's a pass. Terrorbeast, pass. Vrask is the woad painted of orcs, right? Really insane healer. Really insane. All you have to do is build him with 100% crit rate and a lot of HP. That's all that matters, and he's healing on every hit. But he's not going to be an auto max, not anymore in the game. Back in the day, he was the man. Sandlash Survivor. Pretty good champion. Not an auto max. Simple kit, right? Ally protection when an ally's HP drops below 50%. And then a decreased duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn, increased duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn. Good support for longer battles, specifically, Demon Lord clan boss, but not an auto max for me anymore. She used to be back in the day. A lot of power creep going on here. Yelling Gurna. I'll say one thing about Yelling Gurna. I have this series here on YouTube that's building a random team with any champions I pull from Sacred Shards. She was featured in the very last installment, episode 13, a week ago or so. She blew me away with her damage, right? Kind of like just really solid. I wasn't expecting her multipliers to be so good. That being said, she's just a damage dealer, right? She's just a damage dealer. Kind of Zargala-ish, but spirit affinity, right? Trumbor I'm passing on. Seer. Well, hell yeah, we're going to max Seer. We're going to max Seer. I need some liquid. 1 hour in. Karma Burn. Still the best wave clearing ability in the whole damn game. Boom, there it is. You set her up with buffs, even protected buffs. She doesn't care. She strips them all away and she kills everybody. So yeah, Seer is a must-max right away, 100%. She's great in event dungeons. She's just amazing. Next level. Karma Burn's one of the best, if not, it's the best nuking ability out of any epic in the entire game. There you go. Seer, S tier. Tuok the Wanderer. I don't think he's a run out and max right away, but people sleep on Tuox and he doesn't get the love that he deserves, right? Just such a good control and damage kit. He's squishy, gotta know that as well. But an AoE decreased speed and a 2-turn stun. Void Affinity, no weak hits, right? Very, very, very good champion. All right. So again, not a must-max on him, but solid. Tolf in Liburga, I'm passing on. Demonspawn. Allure. Man, she's not a must-max for all players out there, but she's like 90% of players. She's still the best control you can ask for Fire Knight progression and for Dark Fae, right? Or any boss susceptible to Terminator manipulation. She's still got one of the best A1s in terms of control out of any epic in the game. The best, I guess, out of any epic in the game with a Psychic Whip ability. So situational, but there's a lot of situations and a lot of players who can take advantage of her. I will say this. You build her tanky enough or put the right support around her and build her with enough accuracy, you can get by with Allure at level 50. I'll also say that Allure is one of the epics out there that I would recommend if you need her skill set. You can absolutely build 2 of her, even at level 50. And they'll just be, the enemy will never get a turn, right? So really solid. Excruciator, cool block revive, but not a must max. Akoth, he's like 1 tier lower HP burner. He's Doom Tower. He's good specifically against Spider because his chance escalates for each alive enemy. So he's a situational HP burner. Vildrax, I'm passing. Not awful, but I'm passing. Scion, I'm passing. Aranis, I'm passing. Soul Drinker. Decent bomber, but certainly not a must max. 3-turn duration. Bomb is the only debuff where we're looking for a low duration, obviously, not a high duration. I really hate the 3-turn duration there. I will say, though, he has a cool passive, places 2 bombs on each enemy that detonate after 2 turns when he dies. But this game, cleansers are a dime a dozen. 3 turns or even 2 turns, it's too long. The bombs just, they go off. They fall off. He does have decreased detonation, but for me, he's not a must-max. All right, that was a lot of talk about a guy that I would say is not must-max, right? Nazana. Good in a stun set. AoEs, good support on your team as well, but niche for stun. Infernal Baroness, same exact thing about Nazana, Infernal Baroness. She has a perfect veil on herself for 3 turns, how selfish. But then she has 2 AoEs, so really good in a stun set, can be a little support and damage mitigation for your team. Tanix, again, situational. I don't hate Tanix, but when you get her from daily login rewards, she's not a must-max, unless you're struggling with faction wars. In which case, she can have some heals, and she can have some decreased speed control on all enemies, but not a must-max. Achek the Wenderin, pretty damn good. AoE freeze is one of the coolest aesthetics, I think, in the game. I just love the look of this dude. But yeah, AoE freeze, and then we have block debuff strengthen, and then heals all allies every time an enemy under a burn gets a turn. So like in Spider, you pair him with a burner. It's absolutely insane, right? So much heal and so much turn meter every time an enemy with a freeze. So the more enemies alive, the better Achek the Wenderin performs. Very good in restrictive content as well. Not a must max, but definitely 50. Think about 60. Hellgazer pass. Tarshan, not bad, but not a must-max for me. Gorlos, AoE decreased defense, pretty solid, and a burn, and a decreased accuracy. Not a must-max, but if you're looking for that, he can deal some damage too. Magnar, yeah, he's a must-max. He's the best HP-based epic nuker in the game, and that's all I have to say about that. Really good on go second teams in the arena, just good in the arena in general, and just an amazing wave clear in this game, right? And good in a lot of restrictive content. For me, Magnar is a must-max. Maybe not like top priority, but eventually you're going to want to get around to maxing him. Dur is the revive 2 in the Demonspawn. Demonspawn does have a lack of revivers outside Duchess, a couple others. Dur might be a viable option for you on the revive 2. All right. Urticata, nah. Padma, not anymore. Umbral, still worth going for. She's the only epic with an AoE 2-turn provoke. She's the only champion in the game with an AoE guaranteed 2-turn provoke. Molly, it's a 50% chance. Angar, it's a 75% chance. Champions like Allah's, it's a 2-turn on single target. So she's still very special. Moreover, she does have a block buffs on a 3-turn duration. Back in the day, I would just recommend using her for Hydra, just as a block buffs Void Affinity champion. Nowadays, I think there are better options out there. She's very slow, but that's insane control, especially in Faction Wars. Skimfos. Not a must max, but 100% turn meter steal is very good. And then an AoE decrease attack. And he transfers CCs to himself. So he's got like that transfer, that double transfer thing, because he transfers on his A3 to the enemy. So good for like Dark Fae in some situations. Not a bad Void epic, but I don't think he's a must max either, personally. Undead Horde. Gorgorab. He's an epic reviver, AoE reviver. He's also a decent turn meter booster for the arena. He has speed in arena battles with an increased attack and turn meter boost. So that being said, I do think he's a bit old school. I think there's a lot of better options. Back in the day, he was everybody's favorite champion because AoE revivers were very hard to find, especially among epics, right? Think about all the revivers we talked about this video. A lot of them are new. Most of them are new, you know? So he's got that going on. And he was used a lot in the arena because of the aura and the resurge. He can still be useful in all those areas and in restrictive content and in faction wars. That being said, there's a lot more options out there too, so he's a situational for me. Seeker is still the best turn meter booster in the game. He's got it on a 3-turn cooldown with the extra turn. So Bat Eater comps, even without Bat Eater, he's good in the arena. He has a cool arena passive too. He can provoke somebody with him as well. I think that you'll get some usage out of Seeker at some point on your account. So he's a take to 50 and then eventually max out as well. Even just with the increased attack, you can keep it at 100% uptime with great turn meter fill. So I think there's a lot to love about Seeker. And I think he's a, an A-tier champion. Catacomb Counselor is the second best ally attacker after Farrakhan the Fat among epics in the game. 3 random allies. Not bad, right? He's very slow, though, 92 speed. He's very squishy as well. He does have some self-healing in there as well, though. So I find myself using Catacomb Counselor as an endgame player in a lot of restrictive content. There's a lot of like random Fire Knight areas and stuff like that that I probably wouldn't be able to beat without him because Farrakhan's not always available. So I will say as an endgame, I actually end up using him quite a bit, but he's not a must-max right away for me. Dark Aethel Pass, Dark Elhain. Yeah, especially by the time that you get her, she's just a really good nuker who's a specialist anti-freeze, right? So anti-Torments, anti-Ice Golem, anti-Frost Spider. She's just always going to go in with this Death's Majesty automatic triggers whenever she receives or an ally receives a freeze. Very strong. Whenever she receives a freeze, she cleanses it off. So really a good damage, and she has the AoE decreased speed too, 75% chance. Really good control, really good damage. Definitely worth going for. Husk, AoE stun. Oh, man. He's got the AoE stun on the enemy max HP. Enemy max HP, a skill, doesn't hit quite as hard as a Royal Guard, but still, I mean, he's one of the 2 big enemy max HP epics. Husk and Royal Guard. Both of them bring something a little bit unique to the table. He has the Provoke on the A1 as well. Can be good for Magma Dragon. I think that Husk is a champion that if you invest in him and you max him out, you're going to be using him. You're going to be using him, you know, at least in some content. I use him a lot in restrictive content as well. I actually have 2 Husks built on my account, so I think he's worth maxing out to 6 stars. Karam, he's not a must max, but he does have an instant activation of poisons. So, you know, niche, very niche. Lich, no. Hexian, no. Defiled Sinner, no. Corpse Collector, no. Mausoleum Mage, yes. He's got the 3 buffs, one of them being the big version of increased defense, another one being block debuffs. Increased defense, 2 turns, 3-turn duration. Block debuffs, 1 turn, 3-turn duration. but then he has the cleanse and the heal and the turn meter fill, right? That's a lot for one epic. For me, he's a must max. I don't know if I'm dropping everything, but he's a must max. Mausoleum Mage is still one of the better epic supports, I think, in the game. Zealota, no. Vogoth, must max. Drop everything in max.
How much do you think I can get for my kidney?
Vogoth, he's one of the best healers in the game, right? Festering Dynamo, he's healing everybody every time he's attacked. He also has a leech. He also has provoke on his passive and provoke on his A2 on an AoE and a triple hitter on his A1. He's one of the best epics in the game. This dude right there, Vogoth, the big fella. I love Vogoth. He's going to help you out from the arena to PvE to progression to control. Don't sleep on Vogoth. No matter what you do, take anything away from this damn video. Vogoth. Baltus, no. Anax, to me, cool champion, but not a must max. Ostrox, though, pretty good champion here. An AoE, if 3 or fewer enemies are alive, he places a block buffs at a 75% clip for 2 turns. He does it for 3 turns if there are 4 or more enemies alive. And then remove a random buff from all allies with an increased accuracy on a 4-turn cooldown. Whenever an enemy attempts to place a debuff on this champion, he has a 20% chance to reflect it back onto the attacker. That's pretty nice. You can use him in situations like Bommel or Dragon to reflect those debuffs back, right? That being said, he's not a must-max. He's a consideration. Khafru, same thing. He's a hard-hitting, defense-based damage dealer. Don't see the reviews are a lot better than they used to be. He used to have like 2s. I don't know what happened, but he can deal some big boy damage, right? He also has a taunt. So I actually like Khafru a lot, personally. That being said, you know, if you need a taunter, defense-based remove buff, then sure, go for him. But he's not a drop everything in max champion. But he is worth your 6 stars. Man, Captain Tamilla. Captain Tamilla is an old school original champion in this game, but I still like her a lot. You know, she was also in my last video, but it increased defense and a heal on all champions, ally protection on a 4-turn, continuous heal on herself. So, I mean, just everything you want. Increased defense, heals based on, by the way, her HP, ally protection with more heals to help her stay alive. I think she's worth 6 stars. She's an old school slept on epic champion, but very good support. There's not a lot of better supports, I think, than Captain Tamilla. Caden is the Revive 2 in the faction. He also has an AoE decreased attack, which is nice for damage mitigation. Dark Kale, he's definitely worth maxing. He can activate burns and poisons with his A1 ability, right? Very, very, very nice. Also a decreased attack on an AoE, increased duration of debuffs on an AoE, and 3 poisons and a poison sensitivity on a single target. Also can mitigate damage with decreased crit rate against bosses. When they do crit, it hurts a lot. It hits hard. He can mitigate that with his passive. He's also farmable in secret rooms. He's worth maxing. Gwyneth. She's an AoE, so a stun set candidate, right? She also has a weaken, and a heal. She's not an instant max, but she's better than a lot of the epics in Doom Tower, in my opinion. Spider Pass. Dirindil's a great damage dealer. One of my favorite damage dealers. My favorite nukers for all epics. That being said, if you need a damage dealer, go for him. If you don't, pass. Ryan, if you need a reviver, go for her. Actually, Ryan's probably worth maxing for most players. The AoE buff removal on a 3-turn cooldown with the big version of Weaken is very good, even considered in a vacuum. Her revive isn't that good, but it's still a revive, right? Sometimes all you need is a reviver, and she looks freaking cool too, right? So Ryan, I'd say, is a must max, worth 6 stars for sure for most players. Thursic is too niche for me. Karkarth is not worth maxing. Luria is good because she has an AoE freeze, 75%, very good for Faction Wars hard mode. And then she has a 80% chance of placing a block buffs and a removal of all blocks. Not a bad little ability there. For me, though, she's not a must-max, but she's worth maxing, especially for Faction Wars and Wave Control. Crimson Helm, I'm passing on. Warden passing. Delver passing. Fang Cleric passing. Visionary passing. Lua, she's definitely worth consideration. AoE times 3 on a 3-turn cooldown. She has an AoE kind of potential on her A1, provided the attack is critical. She's Void Affinity. And then she has a decreased target's turn speed by 100%. So, good control, especially in a stun set or something like that. Decent damage. For me, again, she's not an auto max. It's kind of like Dirndil. If you need a damage dealer with some control, go for it. Otherwise, pass. Sylar, I think she's quite a bit better than any of the Luas and the, well, I'm grading different champions, but she's my favorite out of the Lua, the Luria, the Sylar, these champions with a lot of AoEs, right? These Dark Elves. Great in a stun set, but really good control here. AoE here, AoE there, decrease accuracy, and then the leaden legs. Big version decrease speed on all enemies, and decrease target's turn speed by 40%. That's big. One of the best control champions, and great outfit too. One of the best control champions out there in the game. Madame Ceres, worth maxing for everybody, I think. I'm still unabashedly a massive fan of Madame Ceres. She's got an AoE buff removal, a decreased attack, and a decreased defense. And then she steals buffs, block debuffs on allies if any buffs were stolen, which is usually the case. True fear on enemies who have buffs stolen. She's got fears on her passive. She got fears on her A1. She got shields on her passive. Fantastic in the arena. Fantastic in feral sets. Fantastic basically in a lot of areas. You can use her progression basically anywhere in the game. Worth maxing, worth 6 stars. Knights Revenant. Ooh, there's a lot of bad ones and a lot of good ones here, guys. Crypt Witch, pass. Pitiless One, pass. Necro Hunter, pass. Miscreated Monster. Frank, stun on that A1. Stun on the A2. A big boy shield on that A2. Ally protection. And a heal on himself. Man, so much to love. Fear whenever anybody under ally protection. Frank was introduced to the game in Halloween of 2019. And by golly, I still think he's got it. I still think he's got it. Listen, back then we didn't have many options outside of him for stun, for big shields, stuff like that, especially in areas where bosses have minions or in Spider where there's a lot of targets because the shield is based on his damage dealt, right? So you want to build him tanky. He's an HP-based champion that's easy to do with accuracy, but also for some damage too. He's a very unique champion. I love that he ally protection. That just he's worth maxing. There you go. For Solace, Grave Dirt has an AoE strength and a shield, decent support, but very slow and overall not enamored. Ashma, pass. Sinesha, still worth maxing. Great heal. One of the better heals out there in the game. These equalization abilities, very, very good. A great Vaporize A2 where she just knocks the target skills fully on cooldown with a great heal on who needs it the most and great in a stun set. Sinesha's kind of inverse champion, right? Doom Priest, worth max. Oh, I can't even get it out. I'm choking up, man. Worth maxing for everybody. This bolster is really one of the best cleanses in the game. There's a few other champions that have it now. There's Maud, there's Tuana Rock, there's another mythical who has it too. But still, these passive that just cleanses every time they take a turn. You throw it in a relentless set and you're not going to regret it. Just a really solid cleanser. Separatist Sentinel, I know some of you guys disagree. I would not max her. I'm not a big fan. And I know people love her. So, you know, if you can be the judge for yourselves, if you like the increased defense, the block debuffs, a 2-turn on a 4-turn duration, it's a good move. But she used to be very good. Her calling card was against the clan boss, right? But frankly, I just don't think that I think there's so many better options out there. And you know why I'm saying this is because on my free-to-play account, I pulled her. And I made the decision not to max her, you know? Granted, it had to do with other champions I had on my account, but listen, she can be good for progression. There's no denying that, right? I'm not like a hater on her. I just don't think she's an auto max out. It's like if you're really hurting for block debuffs, increased defense with, by the way, like Untouched by Death is very nice, blocking damage, and she has defense in all battles. So I'm not hating on her. I'm not as high as some people are. Rector Droth, I am high on. Listen, there's like 5 champions in the game that have a AoE perfect veil, right? There's Glaciad, there's Duchess, there's Truoth. There's a few others, right? Obviously. There's Theodesia. Is that her name? The mythical. So there's some options. There's obviously, I said Duchess, Tatura Rhymehide, Starsage Galathier on his revive. But Rector Droth is a epic who has an AoE perfect veil with one of the best healing kits and a revive. And she's fast. I mean, so much healing. One of the best healers. I put her in a curing set, man. But I like her in a reflex set. Reflex, curing, whatever. But reflex, you can get this down to a 3-turn cooldown, right? Provided she's booked up, which is absolutely worth booking. She's so good. So good. Areas like Hydra Clan Boss specifically, or just support and healing anywhere when the going gets rough, Rector Droth has your back. Thylesia, if you need a Hexer, she's a very good Hex champion. When attacking enemies under decreased defense, 50% chance to bring a Hex. She has an AoE decreased defense on her A3. To me, she's actually better than Marinix, who's a Dark Elf legendary champion, right? So where the heck is she? I thought she was a Dark... Yeah, there she is. I think she's even better than this champion, right? She's cool, but only if you need hexing and decreased defense, right? She's not an auto max for everybody. Lady Erish, pass. Deathless, pass. Kitus, path. Burgoth, pass. Pestilus, pass. Fairnox, definitely do not max her out, but I will say that this Tender Mercies ability has a 9.3 multiplier. It's like the best multiplier, and it can, in theory, be one of the hardest hitting abilities out of any epic out there, but not good though. Not good champion. Malkith Bloodflock. I actually like this guy. He's the Revive 2 in Knight's Revenant. He's really good. He has an AoE increased duration and decreased duration of buffs and debuffs respectively on his A2. I really like him. He's one of my favorite Revive 2s, and he looks freaking cool too, right? So especially if you're working on Knight's Revenant progression and Faction Wars, absolutely worth your consideration. Faceless is the hardest hitting single target epic in the game, but I don't think he's a must max. Ice Bolt smacks, right? 100% ignore defense on this ability. It doesn't say 100%, but it is. But he's single target damage dealer. Single target and one-time hitters. It's not enough for me to be an auto max. Skull Crown. Yeah, she's an auto max. There's just so many areas of the game where you can use her, whether it be in a stun set for control or whether it be your main damage dealer. 2 AoEs with a failsafe, survivability mechanic can be unkillable. What more do you need, right? Skull Crown, she's still worth it. And the speed aura in the arena battles. She's also Sinesh's sister. She has a revive there on her companion ability. Golden Reaper is a niche. Alacrity is very good. 30% big version increased speed with a 20% turn meter fill from the fastest epic in the game at 111 speed, right? I think it's a tie, but still. She's cool. She's good. She's worth going for. But I will say, if you're already rocking like High Katoon, Apothecary, have other turn meter boosters on your team, you know, she's an easy hold off on as well, you know. Okay, Whisper. Yeah. I mean, Whisper for me is the best PvE damage dealer against bosses, okay, out there for epics. She comes the closest, and I've tried her versus, you know, Toshiro and Ninja and whoever, like some of the better damage dealers who are legendary or mythical, and she comes the closest to getting to their damage level. She's relentless, just like insane. She's so good. I know it's hard to do, but if you can pull her off in a 9-piece Merciless, she's busted. But extra turns all over the place, and she just hits so freaking hard, you know? It's all about snowballing chain turns with her. So good. Such a good nuker. So, yeah, she's a must-max. Unless you're just rocking every mythical in the world, you know? Sabbatha. She's a solid reviver, right? Block damage on a 4-turn revive. Solid. I love the 100% turn meter specifically. She has an increased defense, increased attack on a 3-turn cooldown. I mean, we started this video talking about Gizcard having this on a 4-turn cooldown. Dawncaller Sabbatha, she's actually a lot better than a lot of people, you know, gave her credit for when she was a Fusion Epic. I think that if you're looking for a reviver in Knight's Revenant and you don't have Retrodrath, you know, I mean, she's worth going for. I think the only thing holding her back, right? And by the way, like, decreased cooldown of one of her skills after you revive, so you can get it down to ostensibly a 3-turn cooldown. Like, a lot to like about her, but she's in a class with Retrodrath. She's quite different. I'm not, like, comparing them, but I feel like Retrodrath, like, a lot of players end up having her. She's a download code champion, download link champion, and they have the apprentice path to get her early game as well. So, but if you don't have her and you pull a Sabbatha, I think Sabbatha's worth 6 stars. She might be worth 6 stars in addition to Drath in some situations as well. All right, Dwarves, Grizzled Jarl. Listen, he's not an auto max, but he's definitely a take to 50 because you don't need to max him out to use the increased defense and the block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. I would actually book him and take him to 50 before I maxed him out. He's good in Faction Wars and progression. Cornelia. What do we want to say about Cornelia, right? She has some interesting solo viability in the game because of this revitalizing rest. And but she's, to me, and she can be nice in the arena too, but to me, she's niche. She's freaky as all hell. But to me, she's niche, right? I will recommend, though, YST, if you want to see her like in all the areas she can solo, just search Cornelia YST. He has several videos talking about Cornelia. I'm sure he would say auto max. To me, it's more niche. Flyja, good damage, but again, chalk her up to put her in the category of if you need a damage dealer, invest. Rearguard Sergeant, good for faction wars, right? AoE decreased defense, ally protection, continuous heal on all allies. This is a very good ability. Also, a decreased defense on her A1. That all being said, though, to me, she's more of a faction war champion than a, hey, I'm going to invest in her and use her into the end game. I should say faction war and progression champion. So if you need her. Geomancer, stop everything and max him out. Yeah, Geomancer is widely considered to be the best epic champion in the game. He's the best boss killer in the game, right? Like, well, maybe not the best overall, but certainly out of epics, right? And really toe-to-toe with most legendaries and mythicals. He's probably still one of the epics that I use the most on my account, and I have most of the mythicals and legendaries in the game as well, because this Quicksand Grasp, with the synergy of the Burns and the Stone Guard passive, it is the quintessential boss killing ability in the game, right? I mean, that's all there is to say. Every event dungeon, every new content that comes out, yeah, Geomancer, surprise, surprise, he excels in it, right? The rest of his kit is pretty good too. Buff removal, he could steal it if they're under a burn. He can reduce the cooldown of his A3. He's good in even areas where you wouldn't expect him to be, like Hydra. He's good there. He's good. He's the man. He's the man. He's the boss killer. Isabel, she's not bad if you're looking for a bomb champion, but I think there's better out there. Rockbreaker, listen, AoE provoke on a 3-turn cooldown, right? Very good for control in wave content and very good for faction wars because he has a chance of blocking incoming damage as well. Outside of that, he's niche. Melga, she's the Revive 2. She has a good shield, Revive 2, but she's niche. If you need a Reviver, invest, otherwise pass. Fodor, he's kind of like the Melga of debuffers. He has an AoE decreased defense, but it's on a 4-turn cooldown. I can't get excited about a 4-turn decreased defense nowadays. So, you know, not the worst champion in the world. Certainly can get utility out of him. In wave content, you can easily A1 cycle to get to the next AoE decreased defense. He does have a stun if they have no buffs on his A2, which can be handy. And he has a small chance at 100% hero reduction. So not the worst, but he's very situational. Morag! Oh, Morag. I love me some Morag. Bronze Luck. I think she is a must-max. Yeah, she's a must 6-star. Ally attack. It's not the strongest, but it's not the weakest either, right? Like 2 allies, but like even in situations where you're in Fire Knight or something like that, like so useful to have an ally attack to round out an already very good kit. An AoE attack but also the big version of Strengthen, the only epic in the game that has the big version of Strengthen on a 3-turn cooldown on all allies. So, I mean, that alone is insane, but her raw Iron Slab A1 hits pretty hard, and she counterattacks when hit with the Strengthen, right? So, like, a lot of A1s. She can deal some really nice damage, as well as support your team, as well as ally attack, right? She's the Lady Mikage of epics. I really love Morag. Runekeeper Dazdirk, situational but worth it for a lot of players. He has a cleanse and a heal based on his max HP. 25% is a big heal. And then he has an increased attack and a 25% juicy turn meter fill on his A2. And he's super tanky. Great cleanser. Great in areas like Chimera, right? Just a really good champion. Beard, I'll pass. Gala Ombres is cool because she's a very good and formidable and hard-hitting epic champion, but she's not a must max, right? She's single target, but her single target attacks, especially from a void champion, like a couple years ago, there were a few players who were using her who finished high in platinum every week. That's how good she is. But she's niche. Ragnar Gongleam, I will say, what is his thing that's really, is it the leech? I don't think that Ragnar is a must max, but what does he have that I like? I thought he had decrease the cooldown of the champion's Gleam of Avarice skill. That's his A3 by 1 turn every time he loses 15% HP. All right, I'm actually not going to invest. I'm not going to recommend the investing there. My bad. Demitha, yeah. Run out in max. Run out in max. Another amazing dwarf. Block damage, continuous heals. You got to love it. Increased duration of all ally buffs. Decreased duration of all ally debuffs. Great ability with the heal. But the block damage, not to mention the continuous heal, but the block damage on a 3-turn cooldown, it changed the game, right? She was one of the first champions that kind of power crept man-eater teams a little bit inside Clan Boss. But she's still very good. Block damage, newsflash, it's like the best buff out there, right? I mean, you're blocking all damage. So there are skills that can, avoid it, boss skills and champion skills, but still, very, very good support champion. All right, Shadowkin, we're down the home stretch, guys. I'm excited. Taragi, some people will say he's an auto 6-star. He's definitely worth 6 stars, but for me, he's a bit niche too, like depending on what you need. 50% provoke. Can increase for each debuff on the enemy team, which is very good. Makes it a very dependable provoke. Decreased attack on his A1. He's got the shield, the ally protect. It's the best ally protect, I think. You know what? Screw it. He's a max. Max Taragi. I don't know why I said he was niche. He has the best ally protect for my money in the game for epics because he's shielding himself and it's a 3-turn cooldown, right? And he places all those poisons. It's a mini Euros to Soul Cage on his passive. Very good, especially in like Demon Lord Clan Boss, just in wave content. Great control and survivability. I would recommend putting him in a regeneration set because he can take a lot of damage between the provokes and the ally protection. All right. Hatatsu. Definitely worth 6 stars. AoE decrease attack. 75% clip, actually make it an 80% clip. Very good. But the increased defense and the continuous heal on a 3-turn cooldown, we talked about with Captain Tamilla, right? I think I said Captain Tamilla is one of the best epic supports. I think that Hatatsu, well, he's a defense technically, but you know what I'm saying. For this sort of a skill set, I think he's one of the best options out there. He'll also remove CC debuffs from himself at the start of each turn or another debuff he doesn't have one on. He has a leech on his A1. The only downside is the books here, but still, he's worth it, especially for faction war or restrictive content in the game. Shani, no. Nagorio can smack, but I wouldn't invest. Umatogi, no. Tome, no. Although I did have a lot of fun with this champion, I just don't think she's an auto max. Sashi is not an auto max, but good stun set candidate and has a conditional revive as well. Not a bad champion at all, but it depends on what you need, I feel like, right? Pairs well with Lady Mikage, seeing as how she has an AoE on her A1, and Lady Mikage's A1, an ally from Shadowkin will join in the attack. So could be a good conditional reviver, stun set, control, damage dealer. Jack, a Jill of all trades here, but it depends on if you need those trades. For me, she's not an auto max. Fenshi is an auto max if you're struggling with Fire Knight progression. triple hitter, and a double hitter. He's bringing poisons. He's bringing decreased speed. Very good, but still a bit niche, right? Burengiri kind of has one of those Red Lady ability type passives. Not as good as the Red Lady, though. That's Lady Annabelle. He does have a good 60% stun. I think that Burengiri is a solid champion. Kind of like the Hades here. Not Hell Hades. Hades from like Hercules movie. But I think he's solid, but also I think he's a bit conditional. If you need this sort of a skill set. I will say he brings the strength in, but it is on a 4-turn cooldown as well. Big version, though. Kanishi. She has the AoE leech. Not a must-max. Wuji is really fun. Very squishy, but very fun, but not a must-max. Sirin, not a must-max. Shinoro, not a must-max. Gori, good for Fire Knight hard. That's about it. So that's some good control here, too, but not an auto-max. Jurajin, same thing. Kinagashi. Listen, this faction is woefully lacking revivers, and Kinagashi is the only option out of all the epics. So, yeah, worth going for. She revives an ally. You know, she has the worst ally attack in the game as well, but there is a turn meter fill here, and honestly, an ally attack is an ally attack. Someone might join in the attack who has a great A1. It's still a win. A lot better than just like random, you know, whatever. Give a random increased crit rate to all allies or something like that, right? And then decrease target turn meter by 10% on her A1. Not bad, honestly. She's not the best reviver in the game, far from it, but she's the only one we got here, right? So definitely worth knowing about. Masamoto, no. Aboro, she can deal some nice damage too. She also has an AoE if the target is under 4 or more debuffs. So against Mikage, or with Mikage on the same team, in Hydra situations, she can be a very potent damage dealer. But for me, she's not an auto max. It's a situational. Genbo, he's still a really, really capable nuker, right? Especially if you're hurting for nukers and you're looking for like a really solid arena nuker or wave nuker. He's void affinities, so don't have to worry about affinities. He brings his own buffs, right? I love that he decreases the duration of all buffs by 1 turn that can't be resisted on his nuke. That's an underrated part of his kit, and you can't place decrease attack on him. So I would say he's absolutely worth 6 stars if you need that sort of a skill set. Taya, she's actually one of my favorite. She's very niche, but for Dragon, if you don't have a poison combustor, she has a 100% chance of activating any poison and burns on a target with a heal reduction. There's not much else about her. She has poisons, right? 3 poisons on a single target, but she's like a very miniature version of I don't know. I like that she has the burn and the poison. And she brings the poisons, right? And she's a Doom Tower Secret Room champion. So niche, but I do think that if you're going to use her for Dragon or something like that for speed runs, I actually think that she could be worth maxing. All right. Sylvan Watchers, guys. The real home stretch. Cormac Pass. Kellen can deal some decent damage, but he's all right, in my opinion. Lochwain, all right. Cry out in the blue, though. Yes, absolutely worth 6 stars. Increased speed, turn meter fill, the best epic freezer in the game. AoE times 2, each hit, 65% chance at placing a freeze. You're placing freeze almost all the time with this ability. Great wave control. He has freeze on his A1, 35% on each hit. Excellent Fire Knight hard champion. The best Fire Knight hard epic out there. I think Neldor is a close second, but insanely good. Turn meter fill for every freeze he places as well. Great control. Just such a good champ. This is a 3-turn cooldown on Blessing of the Blue. He's one of my faves. Duden. I think he's absolutely worth 6 stars. He has Taunt. I love Taunt. Taunt with a counterattack on himself for 2 turns. Every time he counterattacks, 60% chance of cleansing all allies, 1 debuff. So he's got a little Doom Priest vibe going. Not really, but you get the point. But I love his kit. It's really solid. I love the increased duration of all buffs on his A2 with a big shield on his A2. I really like Dude in the Runic. I'm higher on him than most. Mist Rider Dathi, absolutely worth maxing. This dude's a beast. Brings his own buffs, extra turns everywhere, a lot of damage, decreased defense. He's really good. All those extra turns and it lends to more damage, and just having that essential debuff as well. The fact that you don't have to worry about buffs with him as well. He's definitely worth everybody maxing. Pan the Bowhorn is my favorite epic nuker in the game, along with Darendil. It's kind of a two-way tie. But he's a damage dealer, but he's a very good one. Like, he smacks. This Emerald Salvo is one of the hardest hitting epic nukes out there in the game. So you need a damage dealer, he's your guy. Orid, or whatever his name is, I'd pass. My Celiac Priest Ornn, not a bad AoE poison champion. He also brings poison sensitivity. He also has activations on his A2. So you put it all together, you're looking at a pretty competent epic activator, right? So if you need that, invest. Ruella, I love too. I love the increased turn meter of all allies by 20%. Again, 20% is really good, especially for an epic. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. Increased crit rate, kind of whatever, but still, triple hitter and a triple hitter, right? So really good in Fire Knight situations, and just good in general, right? Good against bosses because she brings all these debuffs to the table as well, and she's super fast, 112. She's absolutely worth 6 stars. Edna, nope. Wirian, the only thing to know about her is she is a reviver. Right? Again, revivers can be very hard to find, and Wirian the Silken is the reviver choice here for the Sylvan Watchers, right? She also has an increased speed, but it's on a 4-turn cooldown. So I'm not enamored by her, but again, you got to know about these revivers. Naya, she's good in Hydra. She's good on very specific teams because she can decrease, she's a pretty good all-around champion. I think of her in Hydra because she's on like a lot of Trunda teams, double White Dryad Nayas. But in AoE, she has a Krisk A1. She's defense-based, AoE decreased speed, can be viable in a stun set. She brings a strengthen and an ally protection on all allies on a 3-turn cooldown, right? So really solid there too. I guess you could give Taragi the Frog a run for his money for the best ally protector. She's fairly tanky too. And this Righteous Revival is very good. Resets the cooldown of all target skills on an ally with a full cleanse and a big heal by 2 turns. So overall, she's definitely worth 6 stars. I'm a fan of Ayala, guys. She has an increased accuracy on all allies' big version 3-turn cooldown, right? She's got block debuffs for 2 turns. And then she's got a big heal as well. She also has a chance of activating an instant turn on champions or an ally. Anytime they use an active skill, it can happen 1 time between her turns. She's pretty fast. She's kind of a jack of all trades type champion. There's no area where she really excels, in my opinion, but she's a good kind of support champion to put on kind of any squad. So if you need this kit, especially the 2-turn debuff with all that healing, I would go for her. Increased accuracy is a nice added touch too, but she's not a must max, right? Dirty Diana. I think she's I actually said Catacomb Counselor is, yeah, I guess because he has 3 allies, but she's a really solid ally attacker, right? Solid ally attack on her A2. She's teaming up with 2 allies. The difference is she hits hard too, and she places a decreased defense when she joins the ally attack. So she brings a lot to the table. I love that they'll ignore 20% of the target's defense if the target's under a decreased defense. I also love that her Moonlight Ambuscade, is that how you say that? Ambuscade? Embuscade. Is on, we know what it means, I just don't know how to pronounce it, is on a 3-turn cooldown, right? Really solid there. An AoE that hits pretty hard too. So a good combination, kind of a niche of good epic ally attacker with some damage too, right? And then Wistery, yeah, not going to invest in there. So there it is, guys. That is every epic worth 6 stars. I don't know, let me go back to the original comment that started this whole video. Actually, I don't even have it open anymore. All right, guys. Shout out to Sarge, I think, who left the comment. And shout out to you guys, especially if you watched this entire video. Much love to you. Thanks for watching till the end. And as always, take care, guys.